AI is not coming for your job. But here's what is true. If you're not using AI, someone else is, your competitor is, your colleague is, the person who used to work for you, who went off and started their own thing is, and they're moving faster. They're serving better and they're catching opportunities that you're not catching. And that's not about AI being smarter than you. That's about AI doing the work that's slowing you down so that you can do the work that you're actually good at. And the property managers who are going to thrive in the next 5 years are not the ones who learn to code. They're the ones who learn how to use AI to amplify what they already do. They're going to move faster. They're going to serve better. They're going to have time to actually think strategically instead of reacting. And that's the scary part for some people, I think, because it means you can't coast, you just can't keep doing what you've always done and expect to keep getting the same results. You have to actually evolve. Hey there, and welcome back to the Property Management Podcast. So happy that you are tuning in for another episode. And I'm guessing if you've listened to any podcast in the last 6 months, you've probably heard someone talking about AI. And I'm also guessing that some of that has probably made you feel a little anxious, right? Is AI going to replace me? Is this technology going to make my business obsolete? Should I be learning to code or something? But here's my honest take. AI isn't coming for your job, but AI is coming for the people who aren't using it. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it because I've spent the last year building AI into my business and my team's workflow in ways that are genuinely making us better at what we do. We're serving clients better, we're moving faster, we're catching opportunities we would have missed, and we're not replacing anyone, we're amplifying everyone. So today I want to talk about how we are using AI at that Property Mum and Done For You service, and how we're using it to help our clients as well. And what actually is it doing for us? And more importantly, what can it do for your business too? Not because I'm trying to sell you some fancy new software or sell you my services, but because I've seen what happens when you use these tools right. And I think you should honestly know about it. So before I get into the tech stuff, I need to tell you how I think about AI, because the way you think about it completely changes how you use it. I don't see AI as something that replaces humans. I see it as something that handles the stuff that's slowing humans down. The repetitive work, the data crunching, the information overload, the stuff that's stealing your time and energy so you can't actually do the high value work. Do you know what the bottleneck for most property managers is? It's not intelligence, it's not capability, it's time and information. You've got too much information to process and not enough time to process it. And you're spending hours doing things that a machine could do for you in minutes. So when I started looking at AI, I wasn't thinking, how do I replace my team? I was thinking, how do I free up my team to do the work that only humans can do? The relationship stuff, the problem solving, the strategy, the conversations that actually matter. And that's how I've built AI into my business. And that's why it's actually working. So let me break down some of the things we've been doing. So we've been diving into AI agents, and we use them to handle a whole heap of market research and reporting. We've got agents doing social media research, pulling together what's trending, what's changed on the different platforms, what the algorithm is looking for, and it's really helping us make content that is going to stand out and get traction online. I've been experimenting with my own platform, and my numbers of my reach and views has skyrocketed since we've tried this with my own platform. Jump on and have a look at my own social media on Instagram. Since using the AI agent for market research, I have really gained some great traction with that. We've got them out for clients, giving us market updates, tracking the number of rentals and sales in specific areas. So they've got a week by week snapshot of what's happening in their local area. This is work that used to take one of my team members or one of your team members hours and hours each week. And most of the time you wouldn't get it done for the entire week. By the time you got the week caught up, you already into the next week. Now it's all automated. It feeds into reports. It tells us where the opportunities are. And because the data is constantly being updated, we actually know what's happening in real time instead of looking at something that was actually 3 weeks old. And this is really simple to set up using the AI agents in ChatGPT. The second thing we're using AI for prospecting and lead identification. And this is where it gets really interesting. I'm using Claude to analyze street data, property addresses, equity in properties, ownership patterns, how often a landlord is changing agencies. And I'm getting back a prospecting list. Not a random list, a list that's ranked by likelihood of listing or changing agents. And we've got a buyer's agent client who was using this tool, and he's using it to build lists of property owners for his clients. No more guessing, no more cold calling 100 random people to find 5 who might be interested. Just here's who you need to talk to, ranked by probability that they will either change agencies with a rental or are likely to list their property for sale. The third way we're using AI is for content and communication, and this is huge. I'm using Claude to help me write all of my content. It reviews legislation for our clients and turns it into plain English. We're using it to help think through difficult conversations for our clients. Say a property manager needs to have a hard conversation with a landlord about raising fees or a vacate that's gone bad. Claude helps to frame that conversation with step-by-step scripts or bullet points. It leans on the legislation and prompts you how to be confident with the delivery of that conversation. And most importantly, it frames it in the conversations in a win-win situation for the tenant and the landlord. It's basically how to use the legislation or data as the backup and how to have those conversations in a way that makes you feel like, that puts you in the front seat as the trusted expert instead of a blow-up situation. So it's really making a difference to the confidence property managers have having some of those difficult conversations. This episode is proudly supported by ALO. And if you've been listening to the show for a while, you've probably noticed what I've noticed. The property managers doing the most interesting work right now keep mentioning the same platform. And I saw it close up at the Harcourt Solutions study tour in Brisbane. The way teams talk about their day has changed. And if you want to hear it for yourself, ALO hosts after-hours intimate events at Mecca stores across Australia, where you can listen to property managers share their own story. So book a demo at alo.io, that's AILO.io, and ALO will send you a Mecca gift card to say thanks. Fourth thing we're using AI for is content creation and SEO. And I'm going to share how I'm using this for my own business. So I am creating content now that is designed to show up in AI searches, not just Google searches. Because when someone asks ChatGPT or Claude, what are my options if my tenants are breaching their lease? I want the answer to include something from that property mum. I'm also building calculators, property management fee calculators that do the maths for property managers that helps them see what adjusting their fees really do to their margin. I'm creating content that answers the actual questions my clients and their clients are asking, and I'm making it searchable as well. Fifth, we're using AI for internal knowledge management, and here's something people don't talk about enough. I have built PM Accelerate, which is our membership for property managers. It's got a ton of content in it, guides, frameworks, case studies, all of it. But there's so much information that people are getting lost in it, and it's overwhelming. And they didn't know where to go to find what they needed. So we've built a search engine powered by Claude that lets members ask for what they need to know, and Claude directs them to the exact content that they need. We cut the friction of finding that information in half. And here's where this gets real though. It's not about the technology, it's about what it lets people do. So I've got a buyer's agent client who was spending hours and hours each week trying to build out prospecting lists. He'd identify a suburb and an area that his client wanted to buy in, and then he'd spend days finding out who were the likely sellers and then building out their contact information as well. A lot of it was around guesswork, but now that he's using our prospecting tool, we're feeding in the street data. It's giving out a really educated prospecting list based on the data that it has been fed. So he knows exactly who to contact. He knows why they might be likely to list. Is it because they've got amazing equity? Is it because they've held on to the property for 50 years and are definitely ready to be downsizing? It gives you all of that information. It's incredible. And he's able to close more deals because he's reaching out to the right people at the right time with the right information. And then there's the property managers that I've been working with, or the property management business owners that I've been working with. And they were really struggling with having to discount their fees. Lots of agencies in the area are cutting back their fees. I think they've gone from 7.7 down to about 5.5. And of course, her margins are getting really squeezed. She didn't have a lot of additional fees. She just relied on her management fee. So we've worked with our AI to build in other fees for her that she can charge. So now with her AI calculator that we've built for her, if she has to reduce her management fee, there's a whole host of other ways that she can build in other fees so that her double AMI doesn't get affected. She can still, and her margins ultimately don't get affected as well. And this is not new. People have been using rental calculators for a while, I know. But this is a next level rental calculator. And you can create it within a couple of minutes and you can adjust your information based on real live time. And it is definitely helping her profitability go back up because she is using this on the spot. When she's having a phone call with somebody, she's able to plug in the data and it's giving her that information back really quickly. These aren't just fancy stories, they're actually people using tools to do what they already know how to do, but just better and faster. And I want to come back to something that I said at the start. AI is not coming for your job. But here's what is true. If you're not using AI, someone else is, your competitor is, your colleague is, the person who used to work for you, who went off and started their own thing is, and they're moving faster. They're serving better and they're catching opportunities that you're not catching. And that's not about AI being smarter than you. That's about AI doing the work that's slowing you down so that you can do the work that you're actually good at. And the property managers who are going to thrive in the next 5 years are not the ones who learn to code. They're the ones who learn how to use AI to amplify what they already do. They're going to move faster. They're going to serve better. They're going to have time to actually think strategically instead of reacting. And that's the scary part for some people, I think, because it means you can't coast, you just can't keep doing what you've always done and expect to keep getting the same results. You have to actually evolve. But you're listening to a podcast about property management, so you already know that you have to evolve. So you might as well do it with the tools that can actually help you. And I know a lot of you listening are busy, you're running your companies, you're managing properties, you're handling crisis after crisis, you're trying to keep everyone happy, and learn how to use AI to your to-do list sounds like too much, bloody awful, if you're honest. So that's why we're building this stuff into what we do. And if you're a PM Accelerate member, you'll have access to our search engine. You can access what you need to know and it finds it for you. We're building calculators that do the heavy lifting. We're creating content that's built for AI searches so that your name shows up when your clients and their clients are asking questions. We're thinking about how to use this technology in ways that actually serve you better. And it doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't have to be expensive, but it has to be intentional. And my team is always here to help you along with that journey. So here's what I want you to walk away thinking today. AI is a tool. Like any tool, it's only as good as how you use it. You can use it to be lazy and hope it does your job for you, which, spoiler alert, doesn't work. Or you can use it to amplify what you're already good at. The property managers who embrace this are going to be the ones thriving, not because they're tech people, but because they're willing to change. And if you want to know more about what we're doing with AI at That Property Mum and Done For You services, or if you want to explore what it could look like in your business, please reach out anytime. But more than that, start thinking about it. Where are you wasting time on repetitive work? Where is information overload slowing you down? And where could you use a little help? Because that's where AI is going to come in for you. Thank you so much for being here. Can I ask you a quick favor before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate, and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow, or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.